And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Petra, one of the most mysterious places on Earth. A really neat city. You've seen it in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. But in this game, you're passing through Petra, you are delivering goods, you're at the trading market there. And that's basically what this is. Petra is kind of the backdrop for the game. It's kind of like the scenery, per se. This game is one in which you're moving workers in a unique way, a way I don't know that I've seen in a game before. And it's a race to see who's the first one to put cubes on the board. Here's how it plays. So this is the main player board. You have this long path of tiles here that you're going to be adding tiles to as the game goes by. And there's the plaza here where there's some tiles. There's 6 tiles in the plaza. And then the rest of the tiles are in the SIQ. Now the way the game is going to be work is players are going to be using these pieces here that are in the market. And on your turn, you're going to take your piece and you're going to move it one space in any direction, not diagonally. Whichever of the 4 spaces you move towards, that's the action you will take. And if you're already up, for example, if I take the plaza action, I can't take the plaza action again until I move away from the wall. Then I can move back towards and take the plaza. Although I could take 2 market actions. So what are the different actions? Well, the plaza action allows me to take one of these tiles here. The SIQ action lets me take, the plaza action lets me take 2 of the tiles here. The SIQ action lets me take 1 tile from the SIQ. So the SIQ gives you more options, but the plaza gives you more tiles. When you take these tiles, you're going to be putting them on your own player board here. So as you can see, each player is going to start with 6 random tiles at the bottom of the board and 4 at the top of their board. When I take new tiles, I'm going to be pushing off like this. And then the tiles that I push off will come onto the top like this. Now, why am I doing this? Because if I go to the market, this is where I'll be able to basically try to win the game. So I'll pick one of these people. So let's say I pick red, for example, here. And I'll place one of my workers here on red. I can't do red again until I remove my workers. Red's corresponding color for me is green. There's 1 green marker at the bottom of my board. So 3 times 1 lets me move 3. Now how far you move and where you move is going to depend on what color, and you're going to move on the corresponding tracks. There's 4 here and 1 over there. You can also spend camels if you have them to move an extra space. If you move on this track, you're just going to get the stuff that you cross. You're going to get cards, and these cards are going to be basically bonus cards that you'll be able to play. And when you play this card, you'll put it in front of you. As long as you meet the requirements, this says the cubes that I have on the purple one are equal to my cubes here. If I have that, I can put another cube on this card. So this gives you camels and lets you take those bonus cards that you can complete. Down here, these 4, you're going to be moving your piece around. The number of spaces equal to whatever you scored, and plus 1 per camel. And if you pass this spot here, you get a bonus. And what are the different bonuses? Well, this one here gives you a blue tile. There are several blue tiles, and you just put this on top of your board, and these are permanent. They'll stay there. See, after you score the red tiles here, they're removed and thrown back in the bag. But if I get a blue tile of a type, then that blue tile is always going to stay there in that section. And so that's kind of a, just a permanent thing. You don't have to discard it all the time. If you go here, you'll get a wild tile, and this gets slid onto your board and just acts as every color tile. When it comes off, it gets returned back to the supply. If you go here, you get one of these sticks, and what happens with this is you'll put it next to your board like this, and now you can have an extra tile down here at the bottom for each one of those that you have. And then the other bonus will give you a building that you will place like this. And that just means whenever you place someone in that column, you get a free camel. Now, as you move these around the board, once you move past the bonus, you'll flip it over to the side that shows a cube. When your side that shows a cube passes by a spot that has a place to put a cube, you can take one of your cubes and put it there. The whole point of this game is to get all 9 cubes of yours on the board. First person to does that wins. Then there's other things that you can get. The last action that you can do in the village is you can return workers off of your board so that you can use them again. And the number that you will return off your board, so let's say I pulled 3 off my board, I can then take one of these cards, and if I return 1 or more, 2 or more, 3 or more, I can take those cards. These cards give you special abilities or one-time use things. So for example, during a market action, treat this card as if it was a trader tile of this type in either your market or settlement. So basically it's a red, and you can be active if it's at the top or the bottom. Or this broker here, when I earn a track bonus, I can choose from any one of the main tracks. This is like a special ability I have for the rest of the game. That's it. You're just going to keep moving around those tracks to put cubes out and or accomplishing bonus cards. Like here, it shows that I have a building here or here, and I have a permanent tile there or there. If I do that, I put a cube on it. And that's how you play. All right, so there's the main focus of the board here is this narrow path to Petra. So Petra is this city here. This is one of the most useless pieces I've ever seen in the game. It's actually a negative piece because it's here. It separates your cards, and you're trying to pick these cards, and after a while you're like, get out of here. I can just pick up the cards. These, on the other hand, are really cool. They're plastic pieces that snap into the board, and I don't know, they just keep everything in a nice long row here. Now granted, putting more tiles in that row and consistently pushing that row down does get a little irritating, although the bag is nice, although a little small for big hands. Your player board itself is a really nice, cool looking board with recessed spots to put the different things. That I like, although I will say that the color that each of these matches is kind of a small little thing that's there, so it's not always easy to see green works with brown. I think that's a little small, and it is different per player board. And as nice as this is, like, hey, this is recessed, you can push the tiles down, it doesn't mesh well with these pieces, which you put here, you know, and it's essentially, that's another house that you can put down. But then you have your tile here that doesn't push. It's going to have to go up onto the board. I wish that they had maybe just had another piece that you can put here so that everything slid easily. The game looks okay. I mean, like I said, this is the main focal piece. That looks cool. The rest of it's a little bit more boring. And I have to say, not super pleased with the rule book. It wasn't that I couldn't figure out things from the rule book, but the rule book was very sparse, and there was a lot of text and not a ton of examples for the different things. For especially the progress track bonuses, I would have shown each one of those bonuses there. Minor things, but I thought the book was okay. One of the problems with Petra is the fact that I feel like there's this really gorgeous theme, but it's kind of just like waving at you in the background like, hey, cool theme here. And in reality, it's just another trading game. The Petra thing doesn't even need to be here. The main focal point of this game, visually wise, is that long market in the middle in which you push tiles down. But it's not really that big of a deal. It's just a big pool of tiles and a smaller pool of tiles, and you can pick one or the other, and you look and say, are the ones I want in the small group or the big group? What colors do I need? And I didn't really find it fascinating, and like I said, a little fiddly moving them down. It looks cool initially. You're like, well, that looks pretty cool. But after that, you kind of get over it. So the main point of this game is this constant cycling of pushing these tiles through the bottom of your area, your market, and then they go to the top, and then there's this little multiplication problem where you're multiplying these times the color down there, and you want to try to have that as many of one color at the top as another color, and then when that color goes to the top, that will actually match a different color, and there's this constant cycling as you're moving around these different tracks. You want to move around these tracks because of the bonuses they give you, but more importantly to get rid of cubes, and then you want to accomplish missions cards. And I don't like any of it. Well, I don't dislike all of it, but let me explain. That market where you move your piece from one side to the other, I read some things where people said, wow, this is really innovative and unique, and it's different. I haven't seen it in a game before, but different doesn't mean good. In this case, it's not interesting at all. What it literally means is you can't take the same action sometimes more than twice in a row. Well, you can never take it more than twice in a row. And many times so if I move over here, I can take this action. Now I can take this action twice. Now I can take this action twice. Or I can take this action once, and then this action once. Or that action. And this. And that's kind of interesting in theory. Like, oh, it sounds interesting. And in practice, you're kind of like, what actions can I do this turn? Oh, I can do that one. All right, I'll move that direction. You don't think, oh, I'm going to move here, which will set me up. People are comparing this to like a rondelle and a mancal, and it's just not the same. Those are more interesting. And this is kind of like a mechanism in search of a function. And the function's there, but it doesn't really jive with the rest of the game. Moving them around the rondelles, the other pieces, and then passing the thing, that's interesting. Like, oh, I got some bonuses, and the bonuses are kind of cool. And then dropping a cube off, less interesting, although that's the main point of winning the game. Accomplishing your bonus cards, which you may or may not just get in the right position to do. Main focus of the game, that's what you're trying to do. Also, those trading cards, I think some of them are overpowered. The one special ability that you saw was a really good one. And getting those almost feels like a secondary function. There's a lot of pieces in this game, and they work. I'm hesitant to call the game bad, but I wasn't really a big fan of it. I thought it was just, it was okay. You know, moving pieces around, I'm not really interested in it though. And I felt like I was constantly doing this little puzzle, like moving these down here to go up here, multiply them by these, and then get rid of these and add some more. And so when it comes down to the end of the day, constantly refilling that middle felt like work. Constantly moving around these different rondelles and trying to put out cubes felt like work. And I play games to not work, right? To have fun. Passing through Petra, for me, it's a pass. Dice Tower Judgment, I found it boring.